Hey everyone, I'm back again, and as usual, I'm very grateful to have you guys tuning in for today's message. And today is going to be one for all you people pleasers out there, myself included. This one is something that I've been diving into and making some deeper discoveries, some reminded, kind of lessons have been coming up, but also going a step deeper. Every time that we experience particular challenges in our lives, we are given, we might feel like we learn the lesson, but then we're always given new and exciting opportunities to just test that out, right? Test that next level of our growth out and see if we well and truly have actually learnt these particular lessons. And sometimes what I want to say as well, with every part of our growth, when we're given these opportunities to test out and just double check, have you learnt the lesson? Are you really there? Have you really overcome this? It's not to create an opportunity for disheartenment. It's actually the opposite to that. And what that really is that ability to go that next layer deeper, right? Because in my experience, there is always another layer. There is always a new area of depth. And what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is definitely no different. So I want you guys, as usual, to play along at home. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And in particular, I want to hear from you. I want you to be completely, brutally honest. And I want you to express whether or not you fall into the trap of being a people pleaser, or what we're going to be talking about specifically today, the disease to please. And I actually heard this from Oprah actually said this. I was listening to something really powerful this morning, and it was just a series of these different lessons from amazing human beings. And one of the things she said was this disease to please, and it just strung a chord with me and got me really thinking about what's been going on in my life, all of my life, but I like to apply it to the most recent experiences. And basically, I want to talk to you guys about today, what I want to talk to you about is to transform your disease to please into an ease to displease. All right, this is the journey I'm on right now. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have to learn these lessons the hard way, right? Like where I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I feel like I'm operating from a really conscious, way of being, but then I can fall into these places where I just feel burnt out, or I just feel like something didn't add to my experience or my energy. It actually depleted me. And I have been becoming more and more consciously aware of this pattern. And I've expressed to you guys over the last few weeks, I've had some experiences where it's like, put me on the couch, right, with the stuff that's been going on. And I feel like this is a massive connection point for me. So I always want to share my personal experience with you guys in the hope that you can resonate through my personal experience, because you're another human being having your own human experience. There's an ability to resonate when we hear other people's journeys. So that's always my particular purpose and intention behind sharing on a personal level. So I hope it does serve you guys. But basically, and I work with so many people who struggle with the same things that I struggle with or have really struggled with. And it always just, it's always kind of this aha. I'm like, oh, we're all on the same journey, right? And basically, this is a big one, people pleasing. And I want to define what it is to have a disease to please, because it's not that you have to go about your life never considering anybody else, right? That's not going to fulfill you. What fulfills you is when you are making a meaningful impact on the people that are around you, but the disease to please gets in the way of that, right? The well-intentioned person who is choosing to please, but it comes in the form of disease. This is what I want to tell you, right? If anything that you do for other people to please them comes at the expense or the sacrifice of what's true for you, what's of most value to you, if you find that your pleasing gets in the way of your creating or of your fulfillment or self-actualization as an individual, or your health, physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, then you might want to say that you've got the disease to please, right? Because that's not healthy, right? You're creating your dis-ease in your life, and no matter how well-intentioned it is, if any of your giving or pleasing or any of that stuff actually leaves you feeling depleted, or it's at the expense of your growth or your health or some sort of or energy, right? Then you want to really focus on this. And again, you guys know I'm in the midst of it, and this is my journey as well. And what we want to do is we want to recognize how we're operating in that disease to please. And what we want to do is we want to transform it into an ease to displease. Sounds easy, right? But it's not, right? And so what we need to do is recognize what's driving our disease to please. Why do we feel like it is of more benefit to sacrifice what's genuinely healthy for us as an individual in order to please other people? And if you really sit with that, so first step, got to acknowledge, got to see yourself in that disease to please. I'm sacrificing what's healthy for me to please others. Then you want to look at what's motivating that, what's driving that for you. Why is that more important to you, the opinions of others about you, right? More than what's healthy for you to progress as an individual. We need to look at that. We need to look at what's motivating that. And for me, when I've looked at the answer to that question, it's been, well, I want people to see that I'm a good person, that I'm helpful, that I'm of value, which has been that previous new discovery for me, for all of you guys who've been following along with my own personal growth over these last few weeks. But honestly, what I've had to get to the point of is, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like, that costs me, and it costs the relationships that I want, and it costs the other person. Because if you genuinely care about other people and you want high quality relationship dynamics with people in your life, then you can't have the disease to please. Because what happens is the disease to please ends up in massive resentment. Overwhelming resentment, a fear of needing to protect your energy from other people, right? But you're doing it because you're sacrificing what's true and healthy for you, and it's coming at the expense not just of yourself, but in actual fact, the dynamic that could be something extraordinary, you're sacrificing that for your need to be seen as a good person, for you to receive feedback from your external world that you're of value, whatever that is for you, right? And I see this commonality with all people who succumb to the disease to please. But basically what we want to do is we want to be more future focused. We want to be not so, like most people who get caught in the disease to please have a real fear of being selfish. And my way out of the disease to please, and how I help and support others to do the same, is to wake them up to their selfishness is in the existence of them not prioritizing what's healthy for them, getting trapped in this cycle of trying to please others to fulfill the void that only they can truly fulfill. So they're actually pleasing from a very needy place, which is actually highly selfish, because it's not about the other person at all. It's actually about you feeling okay about yourself in the form of getting the feedback from the people that you are sacrificing yourself to get that pleasing effect, right? And all that does is lead you in resentment and want to separate yourself from the other person, and you kill the potential dynamic at play because they're not mind readers, and it's no other person's responsibility for your needs and fulfillment to be met on a personal level. That's your responsibility, right? And then what you want to do is, if you want high quality connections in your life, you need to be able to get comfortable. You need to be able to have an ease to displease. All right. And where does that come from? Here's how you really get that. because most people who are caught in the trap of the disease to please are very disconnected from their own needs around their own sense of self, and they're very connected to the emotions and the happiness and the fulfillment of those around them, and they're taking responsibility for the emotions and fulfillment of those people around them and relying on them to fulfill them and reflect back to them that they're a worthy, valuable human being, right? And so what happens is they've got such disconnection to their own self, their own highest values, their own needs and wants, that they don't have a gauge to know where to go from here. And so the very first step, you've got to have the awareness, you've got to see the motivation behind it and own it, right? And then what you really need to do is get clear for you as an individual, what do you value? What are your highest values in this world, right? And so in my own personal experience, the clearer and more precise I get on what I value as an individual and how that, and I keep checking in with that. Like, this is not a set and forget process. This is a dynamic process. It's not static, right? It's not just like you discover it once and then that's it, they're your highest values. No, you are an evolving human being, and so too are what your values are, right? Your values, your highest, the things that mean the most to you are also evolving as you do. But you've got to have a process of checking in with this. So here's my example, because I found myself fall into this trap a little bit again. And it's like, oh, Vanessa, like, why are you feeling this way? Okay, where was I sacrificing myself? And what I found was when I overgive, I can't create. And when I talk about creating, I talk about living in my highest values and moving forward with energy from that place and making a meaningful difference that's not at the expense of who I am, but is in total alignment with who I am. And so what I did was I noticed the pattern again, and then I got clear again. I just reminded myself, like, I'm doing a lot of values and vision work right now in my life. And right now, my highest values, right, are self-actualization, number one, right? Reaching my highest potential in all areas of my life. That is my number one value. My second highest value is for meaningful contribution, right? Making a meaningful difference through me walking my talk in my own growth and being able to share and simplify and systemize and encourage and support others to reach their own levels of their potential, to self-actualize for themselves, to become their own limitless leaders, right, in this life. That's my second highest value. And I can't put that my first highest value, because it would mean me not walking my talk, right? It would mean me trying to give to others what I'm not first creating for myself, right? So it can't be my number one, it has to be number two. My third highest value is for intimate depth of connection, right? And expansion in that realm. But it's not my number one priority. If I'm not self-actualizing myself and reaching my highest potential in all realms and taking responsibility for that, I can't just have intimate depth and connection and expansion from that place, right? It has to come after my personal self-actualization, after my mission and my purpose in this life to contribute at the highest levels. And then I can step into my intimate depth and connection, right? Once those first two are fulfilled. And then it comes into my self-care and my energy and my health, which, you know, some people put as their number one. I see it very much connected to my self-actualization in the area of health, but it's still its separate little thing for me. And it's very important for me to keep a conscious focus on looking after my health in this vehicle that allows me to live on purpose and to create intimate depth and all of those beautiful things that I love. Right? So they're my top four, what I call my vision values, right? I just come up with this. So I feel like they are in alignment with what do I need to value and be clear on what I value in order to reach the visions and manifest the visions that I wish to have in my lifetime, right? So they're my top four values. Then it gets into what I call my vehicle values. These are the states of being in an everyday way that will allow me to really step into my values that are connected to my vision. For me, that is authenticity and integrity. It's courage, commitment, and internal conviction. It's love and kindness and compassion. It's gratitude and appreciation. It's open-mindedness and wisdom. And finally, it's humility and honor, right? So those are what I call my vehicle values, right? Those are the states of being that I step into and embody so that I can step into higher levels of my self-actualization, higher levels of meaningful contribution, higher levels of intimate depth and connection and expansion, and higher levels of my health and my energy. All right, so if I have this clear picture, right, this is not just my highest values that will allow me to create a great vision and step into that in my life. It's also how I can notice when I am falling into the disease to please versus having an ease to displease. All right? Because if I look at my highest hierarchy of values, what I've then done on a daily basis, and I've really stepped into this at a higher level only just today, is I need to take care of my self-actualization first and foremost. So that's what my day starts with, right? So that for me right now is I'm doing this vision and values work. I'm getting clearer and clearer on my purpose and existence here, right? I'm also studying into Catherine Woodward Thomas's book, Calling in the One, and that is integrated with the fact that I'm interviewing her this week and I want to be prepared so I can ask her great questions for you guys. But so it's kind of feeding into my meaningful contribution. But it's also for me first and foremost to be walking my talk and growing in the ways that are in alignment with how I want to contribute. Then meaningful contribution, right? Then I want to be creating these messages for you guys. I want to be getting back to all my clients, right? That's first and foremost, right? To be stepping into that meaningful contribution. Then once I've completed that, that's when I can get into the intimate depth. That's when I can connect with people that I'm connecting with on a more personal level, right? And I go into that and I give my time and my energy and my focus there once I've completed the first two. And then it comes into my self-care, my energy, and my health, right? Like right after this, I'm going to be getting into, not that I haven't been looking after my health all morning, right? With my celery juice and, just looking after my health and energy. I did some meditation and things like that. But also I'm going to do my F45 and I'm going to exercise my body and stretch it and nourish it, right? And so there's a system at play. But if I just go, don't have time to self-actualize today, don't have time to meaningfully contribute today, people in my life on a personal level are really needing my attention, or I perceive that they need all my time right now, and if I just jump over the first two and I go straight to that, that's actually me having the disease to please and not being at ease to displease. You want to have people in your life who are really not just okay with, but actually encourage you to live in your highest values, in your exact hierarchy. Because if you have people in your life who, they're always going to be displeased if you don't make them the number one priority above all else and sacrifice yourself for, then that's going to lead you away from reaching your highest potential in this life, right? So we have to, first of all, have an ease to displease and make it the filter for the people that we choose to have in our lives, right? And don't get caught in your disease to please, which it's this perspective of thinking that we can see what other people want from us without them even having to express that or ask for that, right? And it can be a real gift that you might have. But don't get caught up in that assumption, right? And what you'll find is, that fear to I don't want to displease other people. I want them to feel like I want to please them, right? But it's coming at the expense of what's true for you. And then that fear of I feel like I'm going to displease them. Know this. High quality relationships and people in your life that you actually want, that will actually encourage you and support you to reach your highest potential in this lifetime, they're not going to be displeased when you're being authentic, when you are taking care of yourself. You guys hear me all the time say the greatest gift that you can ever give to somebody that you love and care about is a phenomenal relationship with yourself. And that means knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and having the courage to align with that and take action in alignment with that, and not sacrifice any of that for anyone or anything that you're trying to please or create a good perception of yourself with, right? So I hope me kind of sharing this with you gets you thinking, right, about what are your highest values as well, right? And are you aligning with that? Like, it was even a struggle for me this morning to, firstly, I had to cancel an appointment that I knew what I'd done in previous days didn't set me up to win, to follow through on a commitment that I made today. But I actually had to get to a point with this ease to displease so I could do what was healthiest for me today. And I had to reschedule something, which I hate doing, right? I really dislike doing it because I don't like committing to things and then not following through on my word. That's one of my values, right? But also I found I had to question myself, why would I follow through on this? And it was completely connected to the disease to please. And the healthiest thing for me to do at that point was to actually prioritize my highest values, and which my past self hadn't quite made the time for, which put me in the position I was in today, which I'm learning the lesson, and it's all connected to the conversation that we're having today about swapping the disease to please to the ease to displease, because it's in alignment with what you value and becoming the best self that you can be. I had to do that, which wasn't easy, but it had to be done. And I'm really grateful that I did do it. And the person that I had to reschedule on was completely fine with it, right? No problems, right? No worries. We can be flexible, right? And also the second thing that happened was I was going through all my self-actualization, and then part of me wanted to jump. I was like, oh, I haven't got back to this person, and I hope they're okay, and I hope they're not thinking the wrong thing with that or whatever. And then I found myself getting into the disease to please going on again, right? And I had to stop myself. I picked up my phone to respond to a bunch of messages that I hadn't yet done, and then I was like, no, put it down. You'll get to it. And they will understand, right? And it's no problem because you're prioritizing what's healthiest for you. If you go and do that disease to please thing, you will feel like you need to withdraw, protect your energy from that person, and you'll feel resentful. And that's only killing the dynamic. And they've done nothing. They have no idea what's going on, right? It's all going on for ourselves when we fall into that disease to please. So we have to be conscious of that and not expect anybody else to fulfill on our own fulfillment as an individual. Reaching our potential is for ourselves. Who was it? I think I was listening to some Wayne Dyer, and he was repeating somebody else's line, but it was something like, it was from a song, something around be a dancer or something like this, to a dancer or dear dancer or something like that. I can't remember. I've written it somewhere. If you guys really want to know, you can drop me a comment and I'll find it for you. But basically one of the lines in this song, this really old song, I think from the 70s or something, was basically saying you come into this world on your own and you're going to leave on your own, right? Like and we get so caught up, like living to the expectations of others and wanting to please others and thinking that our fulfillment comes from our connection with others and what they can do for us or what we can do for them or whatever. And there's all the beauty in the parts of that. But at the end of the day, nobody's here to fulfill your potential. That is solely your job. And you have to be making decisions every single day that are in total alignment with the truth of who you are and what you value. And it's not up to anybody else. All those people that you might sacrifice your truth and your health and your values and your meaning for, they're not going to make your potential become a reality because you fell into that trap. That's on you, right? And you don't want anybody else sacrificing what's truly healthiest for them and what's meaningful to them and what they value for you. That is not actual connection. That's attachment. That's trying to get something that you're not willing to give to yourself. It's a fallacy that it's ever going to be a potentiality, right? That's what codependence is. And so instead of that, you need to give yourself and all others the freedom and the permission to pursue what is most meaningful to you. But it's very hard to do when you're not clear on who that is and what that is. So your first step is always awareness to notice what pattern you're falling into with kindness and compassion for your humanity. And then you want to paint a picture of what you actually want instead, right? You got to pinpoint on the map where you are, and you got to pinpoint where you want to get to, or else you'll have no hope of closing the gap between the two, right? So you have to do those things, and then you have to have the courage to follow through on that and drop the disease to please and swap it for an ease to displease, because it's in alignment with your healthier self. All right. So, okay, I've been going on a lot, so I definitely want to check in with you guys. Drop me a comment, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, and if you've got any questions or comments or words of wisdom that you'd love to share with today's topic. I'd love to hear from you guys, as you always know. But I've got Mark in the house, and Julie and Paul from Shreveport in LA, USA. I love it. Love having you here, Paul. And DB, I'm doing really well. Hope you are as well. And John, my entire life is, I not only told everybody, but called myself a people pleaser, and I got nowhere. I'm feeling you on that, John, and love that you're listening to today's message, because this is it. The sooner we can wake up to the disease to please, we can be free of it. And we can go throughout our lives with an ease to displease. If other people have a problem with us aligning with what's healthiest for us and most meaningful to us, it's not our responsibility, right? It's not our problem. But what is our problem and what is our responsibility is us sacrificing what is true and authentic and fulfilling and meaningful to us as individuals, right? And we don't have anybody else to blame for that. That's on us. Right? So you have to be willing to take the responsibility and stop handballing it, thinking that every time you please, you're going to get some of that fulfillment back, because it's not. It's fleeting, and it's not sustainable, and it's not moving you in the direction of knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and having the courage and the confidence to go on after it. Right? So love what you're sharing there, John. Awesome to have you here. And Jared, much love to you. And Helen, and loving that this is on point for you, John. And this for me is a re-listen. I love it. I love that you'll get into this one. And you know what? All of these messages, I feel like I'm just having a conversation, the most meaningful conversation that I could personally have with myself at this point in my life. Every single one of these messages are that way. So, and like I said at the beginning of this, my purpose is because I feel like I'm a human, you're a human, we all battle the same things, right? And the more coaching I've done over these years, and the more people that I get to interact with, I just see more and more similarities. And when we don't talk about it and we don't address it, we actually just think that we're the only one in the world dealing with these challenges and problems, and it's just not the case, right? And when we think we're the only one, we hide away and shy away and try and cover it up, and we fall more and more into the pattern like the disease to please, right? And we shy away. But when we realize that we're all battling the same things, it gives us this sense of not making it like we're broken or there's a problem that needs to be fixed. It's more about, oh, I'm a human being, right? Battling the same things that other human beings battle. Like, let's sort this out, right? And let's do it so much so that we can role model for other people to set them free as well along the journey. So I love that this is resonating with you, John. Thank you so much for sharing. And John, thank you sincerely. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I'm so grateful to know that today's message has really spoken to you. That's awesome, and I'll look forward to hearing more about your journey. And Bill's in the house. Hello to you, my friend. And John, this is awesome, V. You're so welcome. Grateful to hear that. And Kathy, hello to you, beautiful. And Jared, it takes courage to do what you want, as other people have a lot of plans for you. Isn't that so true, right? So, you know, what's that saying? He who is most certain wins, right? That's why we have, so many people in this world not knowing who they are, not knowing what they want, and just following to somebody who does know what they want and does know who they are, right? So I have a vision to see everybody be their own limitless leader, right? When I say limitless, I mean you're not putting a cap on your potential, right? You are boldly pursuing what authentically inspires you. You're not handballing that to some other person who's got more clarity and certainty than you, because that's not living your own life. That's not leading you to fulfillment, right? So I really, really love what you're saying there, Jared. It is so, so true. So be clear and certain about who you are, what you want, and have the courage to go after it. And Bill, life is meant to be fun. Spot on. Exactly. I can see your values at play there too, my friend. So I hope that this message has served you and resonated with you. If it's been of value and there's anybody in your life who you feel could benefit from a message like this, please do share it with them. I'm always grateful when you guys do share, and I can hopefully get into the minds and hearts of other amazing human beings such as yourselves. And I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up live today, for contributing to the conversation. You are so appreciated. And as always, go out there and live authentically, love deeply, and contribute meaningfully. Hope this message hit you in the heart where it counts, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Much love.